But when I start a sketch, when I start the first sketch, it automatically rotates normal to. The front plane is still selected. As soon as I click elsewhere, not on the edges of it, it'll look like it disappears. As I click outside of it, I'm still looking normal to the front plane, but the plane is no longer selected. It is still creating a sketch on the front plane. And what I had everybody do a couple weeks ago was experiment with the line tool. For those, at least two of you that weren't here 2 weeks ago that have shown up because of the Friday night debacle, I'm going to tell you the two different ways to create lines. I'm not going to turn it over and have everybody do what they did 2 weeks ago for too long, but there are two different ways to create lines. If we just select the line tool in SOLIDWORKS, and I actually kind of jumped ahead. I right-clicked out in the sketch area and chose line. You see a sketch toolbar here, we can pick it from there, but I like to use the right-click menu. As I select line, next to my cursor, next to that pencil, shows a little line symbol, tells me I'm creating lines. The two different ways to create them are click, drag, holding the mouse button down, and then letting go. That creates independent lines that are not touching one another. But if I don't hold the mouse button down, if I click, move the mouse, and then click again, it creates connected lines. You guys remember this? We were talking about it a couple weeks ago. So, there are a number of different ways to close this out. Did we talk about relations very much last week or 2 weeks ago? If you guys look at what's happening right now, I'm about to create a line. And if you see that yellow block next to my cursor, it shows a perpendicularity symbol. It also shows another line highlighted in orange. In fact, if you look real closely on your screen, you can probably see it better on your screens than mine, but I'm following a yellow dashed line. That's called an inference line. If I move away from it, I get blue dashed lines in different locations. And every time I get a blue dashed line, what it tells me is it's sort of suggesting, well, okay, if you clicked right now, and that white box is telling me a vertical symbol, that means the end point of this line would be vertically aligned with the midpoint of that line above it. But the fact that the box is white means that it's not adding what's called an automatic relation. We're going to use that term relation. But if I follow along that yellow dashed line, you can kind of see it underneath my blue dashed line right now. I see a yellow box. And it shows me that perpendicularity symbol. It shows me the line it will be perpendicular to. It is automatically adding a relation when I see that yellow box. So if I click right now, you're going to see perpendicularity symbols in green on both of the affected entities or pieces of geometry. So now, that line I just created, that little section, is perpendicular to the other line. If I move away, I can pay attention to these things that are showing up. There's one that is parallel. Notice that it's parallel to a line that's highlighted in orange. So I want to be aware that this is happening as I go to draw lines. Don't know if we were really paying attention to that too much a couple of weeks ago, but it's been so long, I think I'd like everybody to go onto that front plane and sketch a few lines just to take a look at these relations. Because if I'm not mistaken, for those of you who raised your hands and said, yeah, I did the tutorial, did they talk about relations at all? Not really. They just told you click on the origin and make a circle, and it was assumed that all this stuff was happening. If right now I click, now I've got a parallel relation. I'm going to use the escape key. Anytime I want to stop a tool, I can go back and click a lot of other icons or give it a new command, but the best way to stop it is to hit the escape key on the upper left corner of my keyboard. So now I've got these green symbols. I've got two